And greetings, fellow fans. I am Gazbot Knight, and with me, as always, is.
The Big Dawg Defender.
That's right. So I'm going to cut into me. If you haven't been here before, I am Gazbot. I normally do art stuff, but this is going to be a different kind of show. We had a test stream recently. This is the real one, and what we're doing is talking Power Rangers. We're going to talk Power Rangers news, things that have happened, but primarily we're going to be going over the most recent episodes of the new season of the new show owned by Hasbro now, and that is Beast Morphers, the first episode of which aired this Saturday. So, normally I would be doing some art. If you look up in the corner there, that's a Go Buster Red, a Beast Morpher Red, same thing, that I was working on, that I was going to work on this stream, but technical difficulties and all that, I won't be actually drawing this stream, so we will mainly just be talking, but you can look at that, and, Fridays I do an actual art stream. So, before we get into the actual show, Bigdawg, is there any news or anything that's come up not related to this first episode, Power Rangers Worldwide, that you would like to discuss?
Um, Not related to. Not that I can think of.
All right, we
I
lose your one
heard.
shot then.
I heard some rumblings recently about some changes in the comic coming up. There's been some things after their big crossover event where it's supposed to go back
Hey,
to the
thanks for the
original
host,
team,
Ox.
which
Sorry.
I'm kind. Oh, all good. Which I'm kind of excited for. But other than that, honestly, kind of transitioning over. I'm just excited to talk about Beast Morphers.
I am too. Real quick, I'll just say hi to the chat. Ox, Airzuki, Dolly Girl, thank you very much for showing up. Um, yeah, I'm excited to talk about the episode too. Before we get into that, Hasbro has the new Lightning line of toys coming out. Lord Zed has been very difficult to get. So far, the Hasbro Pulse has a pre-order, and so does Amazon and a few others. And there's 4 figures announced, and Lord Zed is sold out on all of them. But just a tip, I went to GameStop, which is going to have the Goldar exclusive. I pre-ordered it there. They let me pre-order the Lord Zed. So
Nice.
if you really want to make sure you have it, GameStop as of yesterday, you could still pre-order it. So that's my news tip for Power Rangers stuff.
Good to know.
The other thing is in Canada they still have Toys R Us. We live in America, and they've been showing images of all the new Beast Morphers toys for the new show, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, I saw that also, and
Hey, Hexameta.
I miss the old displays that Toys R Us had,
Yeah,
specifically for Power Rangers. I don't think any retailer, whether it's Target or Walmart or I guess the best we have now is GameStop, but that's only because they're getting so much legacy stuff that was left over before the Bandai transition that after that we'll see how much Hasbro presence is there.
I agree, but also their display is not that opulent blast of color and sound and buy this, which is sort
Yeah.
of commercial and crass, but growing up the way we did, of course that's sort of sentimental in a weird way.
Oh yeah, the original TV ads were just bonkers and made no real sense in terms of like the show. They were like, I'm pretty sure these are aliens, go for it." And then it's like, "Okay, whatever."
I'll point this out too before we get into it too much. I have this SH figure arts. This is actually a Go Busters figure. It's Power Rangers Beast Morphers is based on Go Busters. This is an SH figure arts, which is the Japanese brand that actually the Bigdawg picked up for me for very cheap, less than what the Lightning line will cost. So
You're
thank you
very
for that.
welcome.
And I sometimes use these for reference. So I was using this for reference for that art that I worked on earlier. Like I said, I'd prefer to be doing it live, but we're working out the kinks as we go. We'll see how that works. So let's see what we got in the text here. Hex is saying hello. Ox is saying he's infused with the blood of an ox. I'm actually curious if Ox watched the show because Ox had said that he maybe saw a handful of episodes back in the 90s and that was it.
Hmm.
So, but the fact that he's saying he's infused with the blood of an ox, maybe he's talking about the DNA recombining in Beast
I,
Morphers.
I was thinking the same thing.
Well, let me, I'm going to leave the 2 shot here, but I now have the ability, unlike last time, I can start scrolling. So let's just dig right in and go into Beast Morphers episode 1 and kind of go through. No, but
Yes.
I agree. Generally positive. Before the episode came out, but after our last episode, there was the new like teaser. There was the 2 teaser trailers, and it
Hmm.
was basically like, here is the opening theme song. And when I saw
Hmm.
that, I was pretty jazzed. It's still got the Go Go Power Rangers in it that a lot of people are sick of. I could
Yeah.
live with it, especially because this is sort of a reboot for Hasbro to start it up.
Hmm.
I liked it. It jazzed me up. What did you think of the theme song?
I thought the theme song was fine. Not my personal favorite, I will say.
Mm.
It kind of, I think the Neo Saban era, and now that we're officially in the Hasbro era, the only real theme song I liked out of that was Dino Charge. And
Mm.
other than that, they all have a similar like undertone. of whatever band or artist or whoever they're using currently.
Right.
I'm not the hugest fan of that person or group.
Right.
I have a large affinity to the earlier kind
Ron
of
Wasserman stuff.
either him or just some of the grittier stuff for the first like 4 or so seasons where the vocals were a little less clean. It just was very 90s to me in a
Right.
very good grunge way. But
I don't know if we'll ever get back to that, but I do agree that the last like 5 seasons or so have all been very samey. Even Dino Charge, which I agree was the most different, it still had a very samey feel. And I feel like they kind of well, they didn't have to, but I feel like that was playing it safe. Kind of like, they're like, hey, we're taking the brand, but we're not trying to reinvent everything right now. But
yeah,
next season, if they do another homage to that same, it'll get a little old. Let me move to the first image here. Real quick, Semrock said he did watch it. He watched it on YouTube because DirecTV was messing up with it. He loves the designs for the avatars. I do too, but we're not there yet, sir. We are not
close.
there. So
close, Ox, but no cigar.
so Beasts Unleashed is the name of the title. And what's funny is I also had trouble watching it because I couldn't watch it the day it came out because I was at a toy show with the Big Dawg Defender. And when I went to watch it on Nick.com, it was still saying Ninja Steel. So what I had to do was go to Daily Motion, where it wasn't Beast Morphers, it was Animal Transformers. That was just the name of the file, so it didn't get taken down. Now I don't really advocate watching it illegally, but I have we have a cable subscription to Nick, so I should have been able to watch it, but it just wasn't working, and time being a factor. So
yeah.
So Beast Unleashed is kind of a generic title. I'm okay with it. I love the base. It's so ridiculous, especially in this image. Like scale-wise, those are little houses around it, and it looks like a neighborhood. Like obviously this doesn't exist in real life, but it like in the ones in the background, okay, they're in a city. That's like a huge skyscraper in the middle. But this looks like it would be next to my house. Is this huge thing bigger than a skyscraper? And I kind of love it.
I think also with that, how the energy is supposed to be distributed, maybe it has something to do geographically. But
sure. Well, yeah, we could see
sure.
2, maybe 3 of them. That makes sense.
Yeah. I really liked the kind of, I don't want to say recap, that's the wrong word, but when they jump into the news footage of kind of why they're there and what's going on in the city, I think that really set the stage well of here's what's happening in this Power Ranger world. Here's some things, general terms that have been tossed around. Morphin Grid is going to be a term that's used. Morph-X energy is new to us. Like, I really liked how they did it where, kind of as we said last week, to those who missed it, the great thing that we've seen so far from Hasbro's version of Power Rangers is they're rehashing things that they know we know and like, and keeping it accessible to both adults and kids, and so far, knock on wood, not writing down.
Agreed. And again, we're getting into plot stuff, but you're right. The setup and the exposition in the beginning was like, here's the world. If you've never seen a Power Rangers episode, this should make sense. If you have, we're reinforcing, the Morphin Grid exists. Yeah, we know there are Power Rangers in the world. This isn't a brand new thing, which is good too, because it's always, every now and then they have the seasons where like, what are you? And it's like, really? People don't know who Power Rangers are after like 20, 30 years of whatever. So let's see, what do we got here? I just want to check the chat real quick. Ox loves the designs for the avatars, doing the same for DirecTV. Titled Steel Rangers. Awesome. CP3 Blue. Hey, CP3 Blue. Welcome to the stream. And Arizuki saying hello as well. All right, so let's move on from this one, and then we start. Okay, so here's the Riptide Gym. So we got our little introduction of the world, and this is going to be our introduction to the teenagers that are probably going to be Rangers.
With or without attitude, to be determined.
Right, to be determined. Now this really made me think of Ernie's Juice Bar. The colors.
Oh yeah, 100%.
And I like that. That not in a super horrible cheesy way, but in a like, all right, don't forget your roots kind of thing.
Even the wall color, brought me straight back to it. Was awesome.
I think the floors too, because it's not carpet or like padding. It's like that kind of
softish hardwood.
Yeah. So then we pan in, and then we see this guy. Oh, well, one of these is probably going to be a main character, probably the instructor, right? He seems like the cool guy. This other guy, he's not even paying attention, listening to music. That's ridiculous.
Yep.
But wait a minute. The instructor's kind of a jerk.
Oh, when I saw Blaze, I immediately was like Jared from Jungle Fury.
Oh, yeah. I can see
immediately that. It's like, oh, I'm skilled in martial arts, and I'm mean to you.
Yes, I think, but I will point. Well, I guess we get more to it during the scene, but I like that there was a lot of martial arts that we see right away, um,
Oh, so
which
good.
also made me think of Jungle Fury because it's like
Yep.
heavily focused. Obviously, there's a stunt person for some of it, but you could see the
hmm
actor whose name I'm forgetting actually doing a lot of his own stunts, which is good.
hmm
Let's see.
The other thing too I liked from fight choreography perspective is it wasn't so outlandish where like obviously they had a lot of different things they did, but even from like looking at movies or other TV
Right.
shows where like that's their main focus and it's not a kids program, a lot of this made sense and still appealed to someone who has watched martial arts for a long time. So
Yeah,
I thought it was really good just overall,
I
and
agree.
the incorporation of at one point they're fighting with sticks. At one point they're
Well,
just kind of fighting in general.
I agree. Well, real quick, C3P Blue says, "Do you think they should have a six ranger?" Well, considering they only have three so far, I'm not against it, but we need 4 and 5 first. I mean, we have the 2 evil rangers, but I'm not counting those.
C3
P Blue,
blue or C.
C3 Blue,
Yep, there we go.
CP3 Blue. Ah, I'm sorry,
Um,
we're mangling your name.
I have my own answer or theory to your question, but I will get to it
As we
later in the episode
episode.
breakdown.
I agree with everything you were saying about the martial arts, but I want to again talk about from a story point of view.
hmm
They have what's the Red Ranger's name? Is it Rory? I already
It's
forgot.
either the actor's name or the
Okay. Well, he's
or
like
the
he's being a
character's name.
little rude. He's listening to music, and you're like, oh, he's got
hmm
attitude. And then this guy comes on like a bigger jerk. So you're like, oh, well, he might have a little bit of an attitude, but this guy's a jerk.
Yeah,
And then he's like, well, I'm just looking for some good moves. The instructor immediately, without warning, tries to kick him in the face. Tries to kick him in the face.
yeah, I know.
Like what? Like not even like a little whoop. Like kind of scare him, flinch, or and we're supposed to not like this guy, but then later on, spoilers a little bit, it's revealed that he's actually supposed to be a good guy. But
Yeah,
so it's like, what teacher in the world would be like, you have an attitude problem? I'm gonna kick you in the face.
power move, total power move.
I guess, but to his credit, our future potential Red Ranger dodges it, and then we see these other two characters that are with Blaze, and they're like, "Whoa, that's not cool." So it establishes them as
It's a
being
little
less.
aggressive.
Yeah, and they're not cool with that. And then so here's all the fighting you were talking about. So we get some practical,
hmm
blocking and all that kind of stuff, and some tosses and throws. And obviously, for those who know, the Bigdawg has more of a martial arts background than I do. So I'm just like, there's tosses and throws and blocks. It looks good,
hmm
This is the one unbelievable part where it's possible, but I feel like maybe there was some wire work there because he threw him and he sort of did this crazy through the air kind of thing.
Um, I agree with you. It's doable. It's not that high. Takes a lot of effort.
It seems like there need to be a run and a spring jump and like
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah. Not
So
necessarily a spring jump, but like you need some momentum to get that high just kind of out of the blue. So that part was the kind of disbelief aspect, but everything else, I kind of looked. I was like, yeah, it looks good to me.
let me check chat real quick. Oh, we got somebody giving some bitsos, and it doesn't say a name. I did something wrong. Oh, Hexameta, thank you very much for the bits. There we go. And let's see, chat. Do you, Dolly
I
Girl,
agree
that
with yours.
hair. Yeah, I love his hair. Do you think they should have past Rangers as cameos in the show? Always, every season. I want that
Yep.
every season. I want different
Agreed.
ones from different seasons, always. So yes. Um, Devon is the Red Ranger. Thank you. Okay, so Devon.
Work,
Blaze is poop
Devin.
face. He's right. Real jerk. Hexameta's got to go. Okay, no problem. Well, thanks for stopping by and thanks for the bits. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, so let's see. So here now they start fighting, and I love, generally speaking, this show. I love the face acting.
Yeah.
Almost every actor, like especially I noticed this more when I was freezing it to get the still shots. Are
hmm
like no one's afraid to express themselves at all, and I dig it. They're all giving it 100%. Oh, thanks for the follow there, CP3 Blue. Appreciate it. So then that's okay, right. Let me back up. He says, if we keep going, you're going to get hurt. And what I like about this is he's being a good guy. He's sort of
yeah.
warning him, like, look, I'm not trying to hurt you. But he's not doing it in a way of like, hey, I really don't. He's like, you're going to get hurt. Like, and kind of, he's
Yep.
got an attitude about it. Like,
Stern but fair.
I don't want you to get hurt, but I'm not going to be sad if you do. And then crack. And again, look at the face acting, and then told you,
Yep.
So I don't know, it's kind of funny, like, but then again, going back to Blaze being like a psychopath, he's like immediately like, I hurt myself, I'm gonna pick up these sticks and start attacking an unarmed student with like kendo sticks or whatever those are. It's insane.
Yeah, he's kind of in for a penny, in for a pound at this point. Where I
I can't.
think
He
after
should
the
go to
first
jail.
kick,
I mean,
I know. After the first kick, it's kind of like, well, I guess I'm just gonna have to maim you.
Oh man. Let's see. Ox is saying to speak more about them going for the acting notice in the limo scene. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, okay. So let's see. So then but then we see, oh, even with the sticks, he's able to get one away from him, and then he does
Yeah,
the classic hero thing of like, huh, but I won't do anything about it. So we
yeah.
established him as he's got attitude, but he's a good guy, and he's a better fighter than Blaze. And there you go.
Hmm.
So that now we got him. And right at that moment, what should happen? But his father, who's the mayor, shows up. And I like the exposition that someone goes, his father's the mayor? Which I love because in the world of Power Rangers, all teenagers are super socially conscious. But I know when
Yep.
I was a teenager, I wouldn't know what the mayor looked like if he walked in suddenly. Like, it's certainly not like that quickly. Like, the mayor, like, I don't even know if
Yeah.
I'd recognize my mayor now that quickly. You know what I mean? Like,
I kind of can, but what I will say in regards to um, government hierarchy in Power Ranger worlds
yes.
is it seems like because of the big deal they're making about the Morph-X thing, this is a city that has a little more focus and emphasis on local government versus not. And
Sure.
I think also for the simplicity of Power Rangers is they're like, we're not going to worry about the whole world. We'll say the world, but really just focus on the city. For some reason, we're not attacking anywhere else. The
Right.
city is a hub for everything.
Which is
We
why
aren't,
local government is the most important because they're the
yeah,
government of the world being attacked right there.
pretty much. It's like there's only a mayor. There's no president. There's no governor. It's just a mayor, and they're in charge of the entire world's kind of safety at this
uh,
point.
I agree. Let me see. Arizuki says, I like that in this episode there is no this is a teachable moment for kids out there on how not to be a poop face kind of theme. I hope it continues and becomes more of a theme like RPM. I agree. This definitely has a
Yeah.
lot of RPM-ish feelings. Not so dark, but in a good
Yeah.
way. And I agree. Kids get that message. They see two people, one's acting like a jerk, he looks like a fool. That's the lesson. You don't need to have them stand there and go, now
Yeah.
the reason I did that. Like, so I agree.
I'm
Girl
glad
saying,
I didn't attack you out of nowhere because I would be using my self defense in an offensive manner.
Girl
The
saying duck
more you
face.
know.
Girl saying duck face. I think she means the mayor right here, and I agree. So, and then there's just Blaze being angry that he's Blaze.
Yeah.
So now they're in the limo. CP3 Blue. Do you think they should talk about Vengeance from RPM? I would not be against it, but I wouldn't want it to come up too soon. That'd be a fun thing to
Um,
bring in later.
I think for that
Vendrax was his name, right?
Vengeance.
Venjix.
Jix, yeah,
Jix,
it's
yeah.
like
It's probably
Gix, something like
yeah, it's
that.
probably a spell correct sort of
Yeah.
situation. Um,
Um. Oh,
Good.
sorry.
No, everything we've said about RPM, that would make the most sense of some sort of crossover with RPM.
I think the reason they didn't is because they established in this episode, and we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but it's okay. That there are different dimensions, and
Mhm.
RPM is its own dimension.
Right. Hey, CTB4, we are talking Power Rangers, specifically Beast Morphers Episode 1. Um, I agree with what you're saying. More on that later.
Yep.
Bigdawg. So now we're in the limo, which is the scene Ox was talking about, and the dad's
Yeah.
ragging on him. And this gave me very strong Time Force vibes of
Hmm.
where Wes is like, I don't want to own the company. And he's like, yeah, I got to own the company. Only the difference was he's like, you're terrible. Go learn to be a cleaner. And he's like, whatever.
That was my favorite part. He's like, "You're a master of video games and martial arts. Why do you not want to join this carpet cleaning company?"
Right. He's so
the
mad
other
about.
thing the other thing too, as funny as that moment is it is a lot more relatable where it's like you are a normal person with regular things that teenagers or young adults are dealing with of like you need a job. You
Right.
don't need to own this company like in Time Force. You don't need to protect the last people of Earth like RPM.
Right.
You just need income
I'm
and
with-
to learn how to work.
I like that, except the part that immediately destroys it is this scene right here. Well, the whole scene. But he says he's not interested. He's like, you're only good at karate and video games. How are you going to make a living at that? Which, first of all, I mean, people do make a living at either of those, But
True.
then he's like, anyway, I'm going to this company that's all about video games and karate. And he's like, wow, I'm interested in this. I'm showing initiative. And he's like, no, you can't come. You just can't come. It's not for you. It's all about video games and karate. Go clean carpets or whatever he said.
Yeah.
Let's see. CDB, I love this show. Arizuki said, yes, refreshing, much better than Ninja Steel. I think that is it. We agree with you. Definitely
100%.
consensus. I think it's a million times better than Ninja Steel. I think it's at least as good as Dino Charge, potentially better. Like, it's in contention.
Episode for episode, yeah.
Episode for episode. I think right now I'm the same level as excited as I was Dino Charge Episode 1. But I
I'm
think that
slightly more excited for this than I was Dino Charge
I,
episode 1.
I I think this has the potential to be better. But right now, I'm just saying I think it's as good as Dino Charge, which means it's tied for the best Power Ranger season in like 6, 8 years, something like that. Basically, since Disney lost it.
Yep.
Okay, so he can't come to do the company where he could find a job he'd be interested in. So he
Yeah.
takes a picture of this pass, which is like, okay, it's whatever.
I give props on that because before they got to the scene where it becomes more relevant, I'm like, oh, is there a barcode on it? Okay, cool. Then this is a reasonable thing to look at of, oh, you're using your head to try
Yes.
to sneak into this
I
thing.
I
Okay.
agree. Who knows how realistic it is, but fair enough. And this goes back
Yeah.
to again, he's sort of chaotic good. He's not worried about following the law and the
Yeah.
rules, and he has some attitude, but he's gonna do what he thinks is right. And so
Yeah.
then when they get to
True.
the building, I thought I had a better shot here. Oh, here's him watching his dad walk away, and I love that it is called what is it called? Grid Battleforce, which
Ooh,
was
I was a big fan of that name.
the name is so ridiculous in '90s, but more than that, I love that they made the company be GB with that symbol, because
Mm-hmm.
like in RPM when they had all these like symbols that didn't really match and they just sort of let it go. Now all their equipment's gonna have GB all over it because it was built by this company. So yeah, they're the
Yep.
Beast Morphers powered by GB, Go Busters being the Sentai. I loved when they do stuff like that to make it make sense.
So adjacent pause in regards to this name.
Yeah.
So for the next like 5 to 10 minutes of the episode, after it was revealed, Grid Battle Force kind of go into the building, etc. I got strong vibes of the almost Power Ranger season called Hexagon. Do
Oh,
you
I
know
can
much
see that.
about that or no?
Yeah, well, I mean, we've talked about it, but you could tell the group watching
Okay.
in case they didn't know.
So
Give it a
what
little shot.
happened was in the early 2000s, Fox still owned Power Rangers. They were currently doing Wild Force. Halfway through the season, they sold the rights to Disney, and then the next season that was full Disney was Ninja Storm. Before Ninja Storm got its story and continuity that it did, originally there was a pitch to do Power Rangers Hexagon, which would use the Hurricaneger, or now what we know as Ninja Storm footage. And what it was an organization called Hexagon. And what it would be is there's 3 new Rangers, our first 3-person team, I think, at that point. And they were going to be working for Hexagon, which was to be run by Tommy Oliver, the Tommy that we all know and love. And from there, they would go on missions. Occasionally, they would team up with past Rangers, and all Rangers would be in this organization. And then at one point, they would run into the Navy and Crimson Rangers that we saw in Ninja Storm, that were, I think, Thunder Rangers is what their designator was. And we didn't know much about them. And it would turn out that they were run by Austin, the original Red Ranger, as like a rogue faction of Rangers because he didn't agree with the ideology of Hexagon and Tommy and everything. And it would be kind of this back and forth until they came together. And it was going to be like the ultimate anniversary special at that point. And the Forever Red special from Wild Force was going to be like the backdoor pilot for it, essentially, of this bigger universe of everybody teaming up. Obviously, that didn't happen. It would have been super cool and or expensive, but I had very similar vibes with Grid Battle Force because they're talking about just accessing the morphing grid from a bigger perspective. Yeah.
I absolutely agree, and I was giving you reaction faces there.
Oh, I saw. I could see him the whole time and was doing my best to not remain
I
distracted.
didn't want to interrupt because you were laying down some good knowledge, but when I found out about it originally, those were my reactions of like, oh, why did
Mhm.
this not happen? Which I think is what everybody felt.
Yep.
I feel everything you're saying. It also makes me think of Lightspeed Rescue, where it's sort of a
Same.
paramilitary. They have an infrastructure, they have a base, they have a support staff. So it's not just like a mentor and the Rangers. And we see that as this goes through. So I can imagine cool things where maybe the base is invaded and maybe the Rangers aren't there, but they have their own force. And that also goes back to Time Force, where they had their own troops and stuff.
Yep.
Arzuki says the Bigdawg knowledge zone. All right, let me scroll up. Let's see what we got next. So he says, "Okay, Dad, bye. I'm leaving." Just kidding. Here I go. Now we get inside and we see this security guard, and I love her. I love her faces that she makes. She's, for those that don't know, she's going to be one of the new comic relief characters,
Yep.
which I have mixed feelings about because sometimes they go over the top and whatever, but when they're done
Hmm.
right, I like them. And so far, I think these two, we'll see the other one in a minute, are just skating the edge of
Yep.
I like them and they're not too much. And so then she seems big and tall, but she's on this little step ladder and gets down, and then she's short, and it's a obvious dumb gag, but she sells it real well.
Yep.
And then this is the other guy comes out. She needs a scan, and so I'll talk a bit much. What did you think of this whole thing with the
I
comic?
thought so after thinking about it some more, I agree with you where they kind of skirt the bulk and skull dynamic
Yes.
a little bit, and for this a little bit reversed where the kind of leader of their group is the one who's a little bit shorter or less physically menacing. And
Right.
the one thing that I thought was funny when I was listening to a different reaction video was they were saying that it's a little concerning that the comic relief characters are heads of security, where it's like of
See,
all the jobs for them to have,
but are
like
they
this
heads
is.
of security? I think they're just like the guards at the door. They're like the equivalent of like
Mhm.
they're security guards. They're not the head of security. I feel like this is the job nobody wants. You know what I mean?
Maybe,
They don't get to carry
yeah,
guns because we see other soldier agents that have guns. They
yeah,
don't have guns. I think they're just the first line of defense. So I'm okay with it.
possibly. Taking
Um,
a look at chat, I was
yeah.
excited there was a female comic relief character. They've done female villain dummies before, but not like good guy female relief usually. Maybe the girl in Jungle Fury, but she wasn't that good. Yeah, I
Oh,
agree.
Fran in Jungle Fury was super goofy, actually.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
incredibly goofy, and then Ninja Steel also had two comic relief characters that were female
Yeah.
enemies.
No, but I agree generally what you're saying. And she was more of
Hmm.
like an ally. She wasn't part of the. She was comic relief, but not in the super. Here we get the bump, 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 bump. Like it's
Yeah.
super obvious. I think Bulk and Skull comparison, but like later season Bulk and Skull, where they want to be cops or whatever, because
Oh yeah, and
like
like
they're bumbling,
Turbo
but
and
they're
yeah.
clearly these two clearly like care. Especially the woman wants to do a good job and be a hero, and she's
Hmm.
just a dope. So that's my
Yeah.
favorite Bulk and Skull when they're more heroic. So. I
Yeah.
dig that, and I think I have a few more of this. So he's like, "Oh, I can't use it," and he blows himself up, of course. And then he's tickling him with the little thing, and I I don't I hate to say this, the actor I like the least, and I like most of the actors. They all do a decent job. Is the
Hmm.
father slash mayor.
Ooh,
Um,
I disagree.
well, here's why. Well, before I say that, despite saying that, I like that he's like, "Hey, I'm a little ticklish." I'm ticklish. I thought that was my
Yeah.
favorite acting he did because he didn't oversell it.
Hmm.
Uh, Erzuki says Bulk and Skull cops are the best. Agreed. Here's the reason I don't like. I don't. I want to. Not that I don't like him, but
Yeah, yeah.
everybody else I like so much. He's just my. He's towards the bottom. And I think I'm guessing he has an Australian or New Zealand accent, and he's trying to do an American
Oh,
accent because he has a really
maybe.
weird way of talking. And if that's not the case, then I don't know why he talks that way.
His
So
first two lines at the gym, I thought were like way over the top, and I got nervous. I'm like, oh god, is he going to talk like this the whole time? And
right.
then it kind of toned down a little bit, and I felt better about it.
He's not terrible. He's fine. But I'm
Yeah,
just in a season where the acting is above average for Power Rangers. He's average. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
yeah, I would say he's slightly above average. Where I already like him better than the dad in RPM.
I would put them on par with each other.
Okay,
But like that in RPM, I think the acting in general was higher, and so he was just sort of average. I feel like either of them would be fine, even good in a normal season. But both of
true.
these seasons are shaping up to have above average acting, and so an average Power Ranger actor, like you know what I mean? Like in any other
Yeah,
season, I probably wouldn't even point him out. But
yeah.
yeah. So whatever. It is what it is. Now, meanwhile, Red Ranger over here is using his pass to get in, and I was like,
Hmm.
how come he didn't have to go through all that? But then I guess it's because his father is all caught up in it. It's sort of like he created a
Oh
distraction
yeah,
for him
like
without.
they're having tunnel vision on him, and then they're just like, oh, average person, okay.
Yeah.
And I
uh,
think it's also because he got through so quick with his pass.
I agree. And he gives a little look back. Erzuki says, yeah, but can we talk about the acting in Overdrive? I mean, the Butler. Am I right? The Butler in
Oh,
Overdrive
he's
is
so
pretty good.
good.
He's
He
pretty
would be
good.
great in any season, to be honest.
That's you know what? Past Rangers coming back. Let's bring him back. He'll show up and be like, "Oh, the Rangers couldn't be here, and my boss couldn't be here, but I'll help you out." And then he just
They're
like,
like, oh, the head of our custodial service, and it'll be him.
all
That would be great.
right. So he sneaks in, and then now we get our first introduction to what will be our Yellow Ranger. And
Oh, she was so good.
oh, I said last week she was gonna be my favorite, and I'm right. She is
Oh
my
yeah.
favorite. I can't say she's the best. I want to say she's the best, but she is
Hmm.
my favorite so far. But I like everybody again. So it's like it's a good season so far.
I like most of the characters in this episode.
Yeah, same. So she comes in, and what I love though is that she's like, "Oh, you're the mayor," and they're like, "Oh, the mayor, we're idiots, ha 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 ha."
Hmm.
But then she doesn't just say you're the mayor. She's like, "Follow me," like,
Yup.
and she's not a tour guide, she's not security, and we don't know exactly what she's doing. But then it becomes clear, oh, she's like a laundry person. So she's
Hmm.
like, a mayor, a very important guest. Come with me as I do my laundry rounds.
Yeah,
Like,
I took it as she was taking initiative and not letting her current role hold her back,
I agree. No,
which he commends her on.
yes, but it was kind of comedic. It's just so like so outgoing and like, oh, whatever, I'll show you around. Come on.
Yeah.
But she's
What's
still
that smell? Don't mind me.
right. Well, that's the other thing. She's still doing her job. She's not like shirking her duty. She's bringing
Yeah.
him on the route.
Yep.
Let me see. CP3 Blue. Do you think Billy should come back? I'll tell you. I would love Billy to come back for any season
Yep.
ever. 'Cause
I have a theory about Billy, by the way, after this.
okay. Well, behind the scenes, I don't want to get too much into it, but my understanding is that there were bad feelings, but he still the actor Brian Cranston. No,
No, not
that was Billy Cranston. I'm mixing people up here. David Yost.
David
Sorry,
Yost.
David Yost. David Yost is involved in the community. He does shows. He's friends with a lot of those people. So whatever past bad feelings, I think he could get over and come back.
Yep.
But I think he's a member of SAG, and usually these shows are not SAG. And I've heard him say something like, "I'd love to come back if they ever do SAG." SAG is Screen Actors
Mhm.
Guild. It's basically like a unionized form of acting. So he may want to come back, but unless they do things differently, he might not legally be able to. Which is what happened with Scott from RPM when they
Mhm.
had him come in with the crossover. The actor, Eka Darville, is that his name? Well, the actor that does RPM
Something
Red,
similar, yeah.
he wanted to come back, but because he's now a SAG actor, he'd worked on Daredevil and other things, he couldn't. So they had him always suited up, and he just did the voice uncredited.
Yep.
So Billy would have to come back similarly unless they change the rules. But I would love to see Billy come back. Again, it's a tech-heavy season, so it makes sense
Mhm.
to have him come back from the planet he was on, and And real quick, Samariak says, "I'm a fan of Jaded Roxy." Okay. You had a theory about Billy you want to say now, or you're saving it, Big Dog?
Saving it.
Okay, so they're moving along, and this is when he's like, "Oh, you're gonna go far, kid," and she's like, "Yeah." And then we cut to, what is this? It's Morph-X.
Yeah.
And we meet Morph-X, and who invented Morph-X from the morphing grid? This guy, Dr. Silva, was that his name? Something
I
Silva.
don't remember. So here is my theory.
Okay.
I think somehow this guy is related to Billy.
Oh, because he says affirmative all the time?
He says that his mannerisms, his look is a little similar. Obviously, they're going for a Billy homage at the very
Right.
least. But I think that somehow, some way, he could be related to Billy.
That would be cool, and maybe just like kind of like how they did Skull in that one episode of Samurai, where he's just like, "Hey, Uncle Skull," or Dad, or whatever is.
Yeah.
I forget how they're related. Maybe, but the legal stuff behind it, the political stuff behind it, I don't know. But I agree, he's definitely a Billy type. He's saying affirmative. He's whatever. But here's my theory. I forget what his first name is, but his last name is Silva. And talking about Six Rangers, I don't know, but kind of spoilers, there's a lot of images out there, and if you know Go Busters, there are other Ranger-looking characters, one of which is a Silver Ranger. Now, it
Yeah.
might be a little on the nose, but his last name is Silva. I'm just saying.
I could see it. Based on the rest of what he does in this episode, I could see him being an unlikely Ranger.
Yeah, and kind of a la Cam from Ninja Storm.
I was thinking that and more of the smart route as opposed to the comic relief, less bright route of RPM Green.
Right. I agree. So then he's talking to them about how it works and everything, and we also get introduced to the, I want to say military commander, but I guess paramilitary is a better way to put it, and she's good too. Again,
Time
any
out.
other, huh?
Fan theory, just because I looked at the screenshot you said.
Yeah.
Okay, so they said he was like crazy smart and they recruited him when he was like 6, right?
Yeah.
So in that time, if we go back 6 years, it was.
No, it would be more than 6 years. He looks like he's like 18 or so.
But what I'm saying is, if we go back further, we would have to see if the timeline is similar to when we think Billy would be back from Aquitar, where he learned not only about Earth and Zeo-based powers, but possibly the Equation Rangers, has a kid, or somehow is related to this kid, trains him up on the morphing grid, and out of nowhere he finds out all this stuff. and like is versed in the Morphin Grid due to his lineage.
They would have to explain why Billy, a hero and a genius, would abandon his child at age 6.
Or he didn't abandon him and he is captured, and then Andor comes back later, which is why he has never been heard of since like Turbo era.
Gotcha. CP3 Blue, do you think Billy is the Phantom Ranger? I think it's been
That
said
was
that
what
Billy
was
is
supposed to
not.
happen.
I
Yeah,
I want Billy to be the Phantom Ranger.
it's
In my
not.
fan fiction, he is. I've also heard Son of Zordon and a few others, and they've kind of officially, unofficially said it's not Billy, but
Hmm.
in my heart, it's Billy. Because
I
I
don't
love the
know.
idea that he built his own suit, basically.
I don't know why in space they didn't like squeeze it in at the last minute.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, I mean, he was off the show by that point, so maybe because the actor
No,
wasn't.
not Billy. I mean the Phantom Ranger identity. They were supposed to
Right.
reveal it, and it got cut because they thought it was the last season.
Right, but they could have. Well, if it was Billy or whoever, they could have revealed it even if it was the last season. You know what I mean? But
I don't think it would have been Billy though, because of the romance he had with Cassie.
well, because of the actor versus the character.
No, I think the
Oh,
character wouldn't have gone for Cassie if it was Billy.
why?
I think Billy is. I I just don't see them matching up at all.
I mean, opposites attract.
I don't. It's not even an opposite thing. It's just like I didn't see the meshing. Like they weren't so opposite that they were attracted, and they weren't similar enough where I could see it fitting. It was just kind of just didn't
I
work.
think they could have made it work if they wanted it to be Billy one way or the other. But we're getting a little off track here.
Super sidetrack. Sorry.
Yeah, no,
Back
that's fine.
back to the Morph-X.
So now here we got the mayor, and he's angry. And which I appreciate. He's like, hey, you're creating this power source that everybody in the universe wants. What the heck? And there's an interesting thing he says here because he says everybody from Rita Repulsa. Okay, so we're tying in. We're acknowledging all the history all the way back to the first season. Then he
Yep.
says Sledge and Galvanax. Galvanax was the
Hmm.
Ninja Steel villain. Sledge was Dino Charge. But going to what you were saying about RPM being in another dimension, I thought it was established that Dino Charge is its own dimension because at the end they bring the dinosaurs back to life.
It is its own dimension, but Sledge in the team up or whenever he came on Ninja Steel,
He
I think
came to
was
our
established
dimension.
as being from. Hmm.
Oh, okay. So even though it's its own dimension, he had been in this dimension. Okay, fair enough. But I do like
Can
that.
I?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go.
No, go ahead. I was just gonna
What?
chat. I was gonna look at chat. CP3 Blue said Phantom Ranger says he's a friend. Right. Well, he's definitely Phantom Ranger's definitely a hero and somebody that knows the Rangers. Airzuki says, yeah, but becoming the Phantom Ranger changes you, man. All right, go ahead. What were you gonna say, Dog?
So what I will say about the villains, it makes sense just because it's like first villain you ever met, last two villains that were main in the last season.
Right.
The other thing
Yes.
is in Go Busters.
Okay.
One of the crossovers involves two Dino seasons
Gotcha.
with Sledge and or Rita being tied in. I could hope that this would happen.
That would be amazing. That would be
Oh,
amazing. And because we know they have footage of the Zoo Rangers, which was Mighty Morphin, coming
hmm.
back. Real quick, the iconic Rain Beast Morphers has gained my go. All right, me too. That seems like a positive comment. It's like your go-go Power Rangers. Sure.
I I'd say
It's
I'd say
also
multiple goes.
it's also gain my go. That's a fun to say. Gain my go. All right. So while the mayor is being concerned justifiably about what's going on, his son is
Mhm.
like, "Hey, I found a lab coat and I'm gonna go in with this thing." And this guy's like, the classic thing of like, "Where are you going?" And he's like, and then that's our
The
commercial break.
battle simulator with the laundry.
Yeah. So we come back from commercial break. Oh no, we don't go to commercial break. We go to the opening. So again, they showed us the opening previously, but it was pretty cool. A little short, a little derivative song, but we get the
Yeah.
basics. The shots of all the heroes. I thought it was interesting that we didn't do red first. Do they normally end on red? I was trying to remember
Um,
that.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. I like this shot. Again, the face acting. Look at Red. He's giving us blue steel realness here.
I know.
But what I like is that he's got a cheetah shirt.
Oh, that's pretty great.
Yeah, I was
I
like,
didn't notice that until right now.
it's so on the nose that I love it. And so then, just some general shots of them fighting, and then we get their like hero shots. So yeah, Rory D. Travis as Devon,
Yeah.
and Jazz Badwala. I'm probably saying that a little wrong as Ravi,
Hmm.
and then Jacqueline Sizlowski as oh my gosh, I forget her name. Roxy, I think. Yeah.
No, I think Roxy was the girlfriend.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
as I can't see because it's a
Zoe.
Zoe. Okay.
Okay, and then a shot of the Beast Morphers. Yeah.
Looking at chats, no, I mean it's worth watching. Unlike Ninja Steel, 100% agree
Oh,
with you.
yeah,
Iconic Rain.
absolutely.
Is Blue the leader? Maybe.
That's a good question.
I hope not. I was getting Theo vibes from Jungle Fury in not a fun way, so I'm hoping
I'm
not.
I'm thinking it's going to be kind of like a Wild Force situation where they had the Yellow Ranger who was kind of in charge, but then Red eventually takes over.
True.
Or Theo too, but it's that thing where Blue is the most seasoned. He's the actual one that went through the program,
Yeah.
but Red clearly is a take charge kind of guy, and like as we get further in, we see him sort of doing things that will show why he will probably end up being the leader, even if Blue technically would be the senior one right now.
Hmm.
Um, CP3 Blue, do you think they should bring back Tommy? That's too much. Bring our Jason. Um, I mean, I'm never gonna be upset if I see Tommy, but they have brought him back a lot. It'd be cooler to
So
see somebody
much.
new.
Yeah.
Arzuki says, never mind. Her name is Jacqueline. Wrong spelling, but okay, I approve. Samurai Ox, show me that evil bunny design though. Yeah. And the iconic rain. I believe that the Billy like guy is the Gold Ranger. I was saying
Maybe.
Silver, but maybe you're right. I was saying Silver because his last name is Silva, but who knows? And then a couple more shots for the opening, and there we can see the mechs that apparently they get at some point.
Yep.
Now, my thing with the opening is, and then we get back to the scene we're at, is that I wish they didn't show it in the first episode in the beginning. I mean, there might be legal reasons they have to, but now, as adults, as people who are on the internet, we knew
Yep.
that these actors were going to be the Rangers. But they
Yep.
set it up where they show us the three actors that are going to be the Rangers, and it's not them. So the
Hmm.
the point of the episode is to be a mystery, and then it all kind of falls together. But they spoil that before we even get to it with the credits. So
Yeah.
I don't know why they did that.
Because they kind of have to.
I know, but I don't know. They could have shown the actors, but not shown the Rangers, or shown it later in the episode. I don't know. But so anyway, he gets in because, of course, he does. They're like, oh, what are you going? Oh, in here? Okay, go ahead. Hurry up.
Yeah.
So he gets in and he sees this lab, and then here's the three mystery Rangers. So this is what I'm talking about. Like right after
Yeah.
we see who the Rangers are, it's like, who are these mystery Rangers? Like, well, it's not going to be them. We know who it's going to be.
Yeah.
Let me.
I will say I didn't fully see what was happening with their storylines until they happened.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
Yeah.
I figured Blaze, like you said, like he would be kind of like a Jungle Fury, Jared, where he's like a good student but a jerk, so he doesn't deserve it kind of thing. But yeah, I
Yeah.
didn't see it going quite the way it did.
Yeah.
Let's see. Do you CP3 Blue? Do you think Dark Ranger is going to have his own Zord?
Oh, I
That's a
hope
good
so.
question.
Oh, I hope
I
so
hope so
so
too.
bad.
That would be awesome, and I would love it if it was similar to the good guy Ranger, but just like darker and pointier with like more spikes and just like an evil,
Yeah.
kind of like he is with the Red Ranger.
Yeah.
So he's getting the tour, and then we see the morphing tubes where they put the DNA, which is a little bit of a weird thing, but
Yeah.
whatever. I don't mind the sciencey stuff. And then he's like, again, going back to that, it's not that crazy. He's like, oh, so you're gonna make Power Rangers because I
Yeah.
know what those are in this world.
Yep.
Meanwhile, his son is like, Dad, what's going on? They're making Power Rangers, cool, and everything seems to be going well. I was getting ahead of myself. Uh,
Yeah.
this is another thing I really like. I don't know if this was in Go Busters, but they established these teleporter crystals as a way to teleport weapons to
That was
them.
cool. Yeah.
I think that's because in Power Rangers Sentai, they're always like, "Oops, here's an axe," and like, sure,
Yeah.
magic, whatever. But since they're going the technology route, they're like, "Oh, we teleport them what they need." And I dig that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. And I think that was a throwback also to Dino Charge where they did something similar, right?
Was it Dino Charge? I was thinking Megaforce maybe, where Gosei would send them things.
Maybe. I didn't watch
Well,
all of
I
it, to be
like it.
honest.
I also like this shot where they're like, "Here's all the toys you could buy," and I'm like, "Well, I definitely
Oh,
need the Morpher. I definitely need the Morpher. I don't know about the
yeah.
rest."
I don't know if in the Sentai they had those weird keys, but they kind of are growing on me a little bit.
Swap Mist 1142 says, "I don't believe they had one in the Sentai. The teleport was absolutely in the Sentai." Gotcha.
Okay,
So
cool.
not sure about the evil Zords, but the teleport. Well, that's cool. Yeah, but those
Yeah,
keys, I also was like, I feel like those are American only,
I think they are.
especially because they're prominently featured in the toys. Which, going back to toy news, we've had Ranger keys and batteries and things like that. These are not my favorite design as collectibles, but what I
Yeah.
like is that they all interact with the Morpher toy. And
Hmm.
it seems like I haven't seen any packs of these. They just come with the figure. They come with the Zord. So as
Yep.
opposed to being something you have to collect, it's a bonus, not
Yep.
like a money sink. So while the designs aren't my favorite, I really like that they just are a pack in.
I think also to that same degree, the psychology behind it is good. Where it's like, I don't really want those keys. All right, no worries. You want the Red Ranger though? Here's this key. Oh, you got the Zord. Here's this key. And then like on your own, you're like, I think I need all the keys.
Right, sure. And you could go that way, but it's not the same as the others where you feel that need.
Yeah.
Let's see, the Iconic Green, starting to get a Mighty Morphin vibe. Yeah, I feel like it's the best of Mighty Morphin with some RPM. Like it's pulling from a little bit of Time Force, kind of a lot of favorite seasons. CP3. Wow, it's going faster than I can read. I have a theory that Red Ranger's dad is going to be the Black Ranger. They have a Black Ranger in Go Buster, and he was only. Who knows? That's or Lost Galaxy. Yeah, Lost Galaxy. I was saying Lightspeed
Very much
Rescue,
Lost
too.
Galaxy vibes, yeah.
Again, all seasons that I like and I think are generally well thought of, which no one's going, hey, this reminds me of Overdrive, or this reminds me of. Well, there are similarities to Overdrive, but nobody was saying it.
Yeah.
Look up the Black Ranger. I'm not going to look that up. I appreciate that, but I'd rather just find out, to be honest.
I think you already found out based on your key collection.
What?
Your Sentai keys.
I didn't. I don't know.
I
what you're
think
talking
you
about.
may have it. I don't know.
Oh, I may, but yeah. I'm not. My point is, I'm not going to go digging for it. I'm not going to go digging for spoilers.
One thing, in case the chat's unaware, is Gaz and Arizuki don't look up spoilers like almost ever.
Right. I like to. I mean, if I find something out, I find something out. But I like to watch the show and not try to figure out. Like, I like to talk about what's gonna happen next, but I don't want to find proof online. I'd rather just experience it myself.
Yeah.
Let's see. Swap Mist. Keys might have been in the movie version where the Ranger was specifically animal based. Yeah, they did have a lot of Go Buster keys that were based on the actual animal Zords. Black was the movie. Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of the Sentai, so you definitely know more than me about that, Swamp Mist. The Iconic Rain, Turbo Vibe do the keys. Yeah, the actual Morphers look very Turbo or Zeo, the 2-part thing. And CP3 Blue, the Black Ranger from Go Busters, has a scarf. Well, I'll tell you this: I do like scarves. I'm a big fan of a scarf on a Sentai.
Very Kamen Rider vibe.
Yeah, Kamen Rider or Akiba Red or something like that. All right, so let's. So everything's going good except what's this purple? And nobody sees it but our Red Ranger.
Okay, so
going back. Yep.
Huge personal bias for this plot point. So I know a little bit about cybersecurity because of my job. And the fact that this happened in the show with how advanced they're supposed to be with this whole new energy source that no one has, and they're like, oh yeah, I don't know what you mean. Everything looks good on here. It's like, oh, come on, really? There's like so many things you could have looked up or done that would have mitigated this issue. So that was a personal thing that I didn't like because of what I know about the industry. Gazbot, are you still there?
Bigdawg?
There we go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Did I freeze or did you freeze?
I couldn't hear you. Could you have heard everything I said?
Yeah. Dolly Girl says, uh-oh. They're on a little bit of a delay, though, so we might get fixed, and then they'll figure it out.
Okay.
Just keep going unless somebody says it's not working. Oh, we're back. Okay, cool. Whew.
Woohoo!
I think it was just a little glitch there. But, yeah, I agree. Here's the thing. Totally unbelievable, but just enough that I'm okay with it for 2 reasons. One, it's like some kind of crazy thing from another dimension, so it finds a way to circumvent. Excuse me, and it's a throwaway line, but he says it's coming up, but he's like, oh no, the wall's up, everything looks fine. There's nothing trying to break in, and he's like, it's already in. That's why you don't see it. Now I understand that might not make perfect logical sense for a cybersecurity expert, but to a layperson, it's like, oh, they got past the wall. They're looking at the wall. It looks fine. They've covered their tracks. Like it's not perfect, but they addressed it.
Yeah.
Arizuki says, yeah, but it's a magic snake virus. It's not getting caught by Norton antivirus. That was my other point, yeah.
Most things aren't caught by Norton antivirus, if we're being honest, but
well, so he sees it, but we actually jumped ahead a little bit because he sees it, but nothing's happened yet.
Yeah.
And then we see the reveal, and it's like, oh, it's the 3 Karate Kids from The Thing. Who'd have thought that? And then he sees this, where he actually sees a bit of the snake. And going back to how I love the acting, he's like, like he gets scared like a real person gets scared. Not like a, what's that? Or like he sees a crazy snake appear out of nowhere and jumps back like he saw a crazy snake appear out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Trying to attack him out of the little
I saw that,
jar.
I'd fall out of my chair and poop my pants, and that's what he does, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So
that part was really cool. One thing I will say, when we got the reveal for the real Rangers, I definitely wasn't well, I was surprised by it, but at the same time I was like, Oh, I really hope whatever happens where Blaze. The thing I wanted is for Blaze to actively be turned down from not getting the Red Ranger
Like
powers.
Jared, like what happened to Jared in Jungle Fury.
Not where they're like, you can't have it, but like some happenstance where they happen to fall in and get the powers. He's like, wait a minute, I was supposed to be the Red Ranger. What are you doing?
Like they turn it on and he's about to step in, and then an explosion knocks him out of the way.
And then it's like, and then they're like, we need to do the powers now, or they're gonna be lost forever. And he's like, okay. Rory pops in, and he's like, oh, but like it was supposed to be me. And he's like, well, you're a jerk, so that sucks.
Ox is appreciating the shade being thrown at Norton. Iconic Crane. It's kind of messed up Ranger history because now Die Ranger is the only season not used. Well, that's not really true. Oh,
That's
we were just talking
true.
about from Zoo Ranger forward, I guess. But
Mm-hmm.
is Die Ranger the only one not used?
I think Die Ranger is the only one that doesn't have the Ranger suits used.
Right. Well, yeah, because Kaku Ranger kind of was used. And then,
Alien Rangers, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess, well, and then there's the newer one, like Q Ranger, which theoretically they'll still do. I guess we'll figure it out, but yeah. Erzuki, what we really need is American Akiba Ranger. I agree. So does everyone else. Oh, no,
Yeah.
I can't agree. That's what I'm saying. Okay, so this guy's like, Blaze is like, I know him. He's the jerk I almost killed for no reason. And then this is where he's like, yeah, there's a virus. And what I like, though, we already talked about all that, is that she's like, get him out of here. He's a security risk. Hey, is it cool? It's cool. And then she's like, make sure it's cool. Now, that might not have saved them and gotten it out of there, but I appreciate her being a good leader where her first priority was, he's a security threat, get him out of here.
Yep.
He was rambling about a security risk, though, so now that he's dealt with, double check it just in case. Because usually they're like, he's crazy, everything's fine.
Yeah.
Everything wasn't fine, but she was smart enough to at least try to check, so that, to me, points for being a good leader right there.
I appreciate that as well. I agree.
So then they lock him up. It's weird that they have a prison. Is he there forever for an hour? Are they calling the cops? What is going to happen here? It's a little strange. So then we cut to these guys putting on these pre-morph suits. It's a little unclear.
Oh yeah. One thing I hate about hate's a strong word. One thing I'm not the hugest fan of on the Neo Saban seasons is they always have these weird training suits that are only in America that they sometimes make toys of or sometimes doesn't, and we don't always really get like a real purpose for it. Like in Ninja Steel, they had these training suits and they're like, yeah, we're going to train in them. Why wouldn't you just morph and train in those? No, we have these other suits that we're going to train in that are kind of uncomfortable.
Yeah, and they would occasionally wear them into the field for like a minute before they morphed, and it's like,
yeah, and then it's like, why don't you just morph? Like the only one that really made sense was in Mighty Morphin Season 3, where they had ninja powers that were specifically different than their morph powers.
Yes,
they made it faster. They could like duplicate and teleport. That was cool. Other than that, yeah.
My theory is that they want more variation of figures they could sell. I mean, it's all to sell toys, obviously.
Of course, yeah.
And I think it's like, well, let's find a way to sell civilian figures, because a lot of, especially adult collectors, like I'd love to have the civilian versions, but they're like, kids aren't going to want somebody wearing a T-shirt, so we'll give them a human head and this battle suit, so they still seem cool. But I think what happens is kids are just going to want the real Power Ranger, and adults are like, well, I would have rather had them in a T-shirt, you know? So they kind of miss the mark there. We got some hoping we get train rangers or trangers from Swamp. Tokuger, I love Tokuger. I don't know how they would adapt it to be as good in America. I'd watch it.
Yeah.
That is a Sentai season that I've watched all of, actually. It's one of the few that I've watched all of it, all the movies and everything. The Iconic Reign says they need to make Kamen Rider Kuga adaptation. Kamen Rider, they've tried a couple times here. I don't know why it never catches on, but yeah.
I mean, I heard Dragon Knight was good. It just aired kind of weird.
So anyway, now we get in, they're talking, and it's like, hey, by the way, we're dating. And he's like, no, remember, because it's a rule. And she's like, that's a dumb rule. You said so. He's like, yeah, but it's a rule. And then she's like, why did I ever like you? But, you know, so they were dating and they quit, and it kind of doesn't make sense.
So...
Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry, before we move on, This is one of the parts of... I like most of the acting in the show. I don't like the Blue Ranger so far.
He's my least favorite of the three mains.
But he's my least favorite of the people we saw that had talking parts in this episode.
Wow, that's harsh. That is... You like him less than the mayor?
Yes.
Wow, okay. Wow.
Even... So, when they revealed them at Morphicon, I looked and... We saw the three Rangers come on screen. They're like, here's your new Rangers. Ah! And they came up, and Yellow Ranger, super smiley. Red Ranger, half smiley, half like focused. Blue Ranger, totally intense, didn't really show much emotion. Then he did smile a little bit, was kind of not a fan of his smile because it looked like kind of, I don't know, overly confident is what I'll say for this
All right.
family-friendly stream.
Well, I guess I get what you're saying a little bit, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because, again, I keep referring to this as paramilitary, but I can't think of a better way to put it.
Yeah.
He's the one that's been in the program. It's revealed later, spoilers, that his mom is the commander.
Hmm.
So he might be just like kind of like Theo, like buttoned down and like I'm all duty. I'm a soldier.
Yeah.
Which so he might be playing the part correctly, is what I'm saying.
I think in regards to the Theo comparison, Theo was way more emotional and likable, whereas this guy, regardless of if it was a flashback when they're in love and then breaking up, or now, every time he was just kind of like half asleep, like, yeah, like we talked about it, we can't date anymore. This is really difficult. Don't make it so like everything was the same. I didn't like it.
I guess I did make him look like a jerk here too, but uh well,
Yeah,
anyway, we cut away from that for now. Like, here's a drama bomb.
yeah,
Goodbye. We cut to this command center, which again gave me like Lightspeed Rescue or RPM vibes.
yeah.
And the commander's like, get things going, and then they twist the tubes. They're all in here with their pre-morph suits that we already discussed, and
Hmm.
everything looks good. Hey, did that thing show up from before? No, it's fine. We're all good. Couldn't possibly be a problem. And he's out front. Now, what I find funny too, this is I think I credit this more to the writing. I mean, not that the actor did a bad job, but he's
Yeah.
a politician and he's in there like, this is a bad idea. I'm very worried. Well, you've barely allayed my fears with these Power Rangers. 5 minutes later, hey everybody, clean energy that I'm bringing to the city. How great is
I
it?
thought
Oh,
so
it's
too.
awesome.
Yeah.
And so I was like, that is such a politician. That's so great.
Hey, the thing I give him credit for is he told them behind the scenes, here are my reservations.
Right.
But when he went in front of everybody, he's like, whether I have doubt or not, we're going to own this and we're going forward with it either way.
Right.
So me giving anyone doubt does not help the
No, I
situation.
agree.
So
I'm
here
not
we
saying
go. Yeah, yeah.
I'm not saying he's a bad person or a liar, but he's a politician.
I
He's
heard you say he was a bad person and a liar, so this is a little confusing to me.
Dragon Knight was quite good. It was just hard to do. Imagination. Yes. So then inside, everybody, and I like that the whole team's excited. Like, oh, he's talking about it. And here comes our Yellow Ranger. Like, me too, guys. Me too. Yeah. Like, I'm
Yup.
excited too. And then back to the command center again. We have this support staff. Like, she's got a line of dialogue. Who is she? I don't know, but
Mhm.
she's better press those buttons in a really awkward way off to the side, like this.
Yeah.
Where is it? Like this. Otherwise, it's not gonna get going.
I love these screenshots because all this stuff I didn't notice because I was so excited to see what happened.
That's what I was only gonna watch it once and take screenshots, but I was like, you know what? I better just watch it and enjoy it. Because with
Yeah.
the screenshots, I do notice so much other stuff, some good,
Yeah.
some bad. But yeah, like it is. I'm trying to get like just imagine. I'm like, I have to press a button, so I'll look over here and then do that, and then like who? It doesn't make sense.
Whatever.
But I love it. I love it. And then same thing, we got this crazy switch, which again, politics, because that obviously is not the normal switch they'd have.
Yeah, it's
Uh,
the giant ribbon, but for
Yep.
future technological
Yes.
society.
Exactly right. And so everything's working fine, all good. They're going to be Rangers in about 3 seconds. Look at they're morphing up. I think they say it's morphing now, but I heard more phenomenal, and I don't need to be corrected on that. And then all of a sudden, whoa, a snake! Now here's where I'm disappointed that the doctor didn't fall out of his chair and poop his pants the way the Red Ranger did, because he was like, whoa, this is unexpected. He should have been like, goo, like, but
The
whatever.
way I interpreted it is as if he's seen malware or viruses before, and he's like, "Oh, what?" And then he sees it on screen, and he's just like, "Oh no, this is bad."
Right. Okay, fair enough, but I was spoiled by the earlier overacting that
True.
I love.
Yeah.
And so then we see the purple coming in. That's not the color we want. And
Mhm.
meanwhile, that somehow breaks the prison door that he was in, so he gets out.
I think everything was malfunctioning.
It
Is what it
was,
was.
yeah, but it always malfunctions in our hero's favor, and that's fine. That's
True.
just movies. It didn't malfunction and close and well, like turn off the lights. It's like, oh, get out, it's fine.
That actually would have been kind of cool if it just like opened and slammed the door, and he's got to like jump through like Indiana Jones.
That
or
would be
something.
cool, actually. But going back to my favorite, she's here with her laundry. Everything's falling apart. She's still doing the laundry. She's like, "Is this a drill?" And they're like, "No." She's like, "Oh, I guess I better stop doing the laundry." And then she's like, she's gonna run away. And then she's like, "No, I don't run away from problems. I go fix them." And then she's like, "Dun, da, 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 I'm Chitara. Here we go."
Yep.
And then right behind her, "Hey, we fix problems too." And he's like, "We do?" And then again, the faces. She's got this face of determination. He's like, whatever.
Yep.
And running down the look at her face. Look at his face. I love it. I love it. Their faces are like every still shot is gold.
I know, it's so
gold.
good. If you wear a lab coat, you're immune to shock. It's true.
Oh, I didn't realize that. Well, that's good to know. Thank you, Arizuki. Yeah, so many screenshots. Yeah, we're running a little long. We should be done right now, but we'll go a little longer. So we'll speed it up, but we've got to get to the end of the episode here. So
True.
then, oh, and then, but going back once again, good guy Bulk and Skull. They're running. We got to go help. So they're intending to be good, and then they fall into a pit, or a
Yeah.
bin, whatever it is. So they're comic relief, but they had good intentions.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we see the purple cyclone hitting this guy, and Evil Blaze. Dun, dun,
Oh
dun.
my god, I was so excited that this was the resolution of this Crimson Ranger. The first thing I thought of, I took a moment to myself and was like, all right, Hasbro's sitting in a room, all these shareholders are like, what do people love in Power Rangers? They love evil Rangers. Okay, what else do they like? They like continuity. What else do they like? They like good acting. You know what? We're going to throw in some fight scenes. Here you go.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah, and I like that he's a copy too, because then you don't feel so bad. Like, oh, maybe he's not such a bad guy. Maybe no, he's an evil copy. They literally later say like, oh, he's like an evil twin. It's like good. I also like this screenshot. I didn't mean to get the distortion, but I left it because the way that they kind of vibrate with like evil technology distortion makes them seem like demonic or like because they're not human. They're not.
Yeah.
There's something else, and I dig that.
Yeah. Their connection to the grid is kind of off or something.
Right. So then we have these guys show up, and I love this little piece of moment. It kind of reminds me of The Force Awakens, which is a weird thing to say. But there's a scene because she runs up and he's like, "Are you security?" And she's like, "No, are you?" And he's like, "No, I'm trespassing." And they're like, "All right, let's go." But
yeah, I guess so.
But something about it reminded me of when Finn and Han Solo were gonna break into Starkiller Base. And he's just like, how are we gonna get it? He's like, we use the Force. He's like, that's not how the Force works. And then they just go in, it's not exact, but that moment before the battle where they had a little moment of comedy, I appreciate it. And then right after that, I didn't get the best screenshot, but they do these awesome barrel rolls in, okay, they're clearly capable.
Yeah.
And then some more evil transforming. What's going on there? It's the evil Yellow Ranger, which is also badass. Yeah, the Avatar
I was
really cool.
not expecting her. That was a very pleasant surprise.
Agreed. I'm wondering, though, because of toys, we know there's a figure of the evil Red Ranger. Is there one of the evil Yellow Ranger?
I so am hoping it way too.
Not,
if they don't do it, I'm going to riot.
Samurai Ox, my bunny! Yeah, this is the one she's talking about. He's talking about, yeah.
Samurai Ox, you're in charge of the table flip if they don't make a figure of this evil Yellow Ranger.
They better. And so, here comes Evil Blue. They're going to have a full set. But wait, what is this? A guard dropped a gun, and our hero was smart enough to pick it up, which never happens. It's always like, no, we got to figure out some other way.
But the thing with the gun, I actually had to rewind it from an angle. I thought it was a Time Force blaster.
Oh, I see what you mean, because of the shape.
It looked really similar. I was like, oh my god, is it? Oh, no, it's not. Okay, moving on.
Alex, ears behind the helm. I love it. Yeah, it's very cool. But what I also like, again, showing that he's smart, he doesn't shoot at them. He doesn't shoot at the guy about to be hurt. He shoots at the conduit. Now, is that how science really works? Who knows? But in this world,
of course it is.
But in this world, you see the purple energy going, so he's like, "Oh, let me shoot that," because that's the one thing he could easily do. And how he's such a good shot is another story. But so then they immediately go ahead.
Mild plot hole.
Yeah.
That may be resolved by us talking about it. So he shoots the connection to these things that are going to transform them into Rangers.
Yes.
How do they turn into Rangers later?
That's a good question. We could look at what the visual is, but I'm betting that Silva reroutes to the secondary coupling, and they just didn't bother showing us that because they do show him going science, and then it turns on. So I'm allowing.
I was thinking that, or they were already charged with good energy. The bad energy is what hadn't come in yet.
Oh, that's fair too. Either one or a combo of the two would work. So, but he shot that, so they go after him, and he can't. He's running away. And then here comes more face acting, and she slams him down with her laundry cart. That didn't even occur to me. Is it a laundry? Well, it's a cart. She's good at pushing carts, whatever.
One of them.
Yeah. So she knocks them over, and then battle ensues, and it's kind of like, well, how can they beat them? They don't have anything, and they can't. But he's like, I gotta help them. I got this suit that kind of is almost like a Power Ranger suit. And then there's just a bunch of cool kind of Jackie Chan fighting where they're just avoiding being hit and rolling over tables and stuff. What do you call that sort of fighting? I always want to call it Drunken Master, but that's not exactly right.
So one thing Jackie Chan was really good at in terms of his early career and even into his later career was he would use props a lot.
That's
either in terms of using props or using his environment for his scene, so it was less linear in terms of, oh, here's a big punch and here's a big punch. It was really snappy, and he would have to move a lot and use kind of different, not even parkour, but just maneuvering a lot for his scenes.
Is there a name for that type of martial arts?
Probably, if there is, I can't think of it.
Okay, well, that's what I was. Not to his level, obviously, but there was a lot of that in this, which I liked because, especially, it's a good way of making you believe that someone who isn't a superhero can stand up to a supervillain because they're just kind of trying to stay alive. They're not actually trying to win, really. This moment I liked a lot too, though. The two of them together did like a flying kick. It's again kind of like bizarre martial arts, but like an early team building of like, well, let's kick them together, you know?
Yeah.
And going back to the best of the crew, more face acting. I'm gonna pick up this barrel, and then she's throwing it. This was a little weird. I think she should have died right here. She fell like on her face, like whatever. I'm glad she didn't, but
yeah. I'll let it go.
Yeah, and some more fighting. A lot of it again trying to just avoid getting killed. And then this is the scene of like, oh, we're in trouble now. What the heck could we possibly do?
Yeah.
And then they get caught in these things. But look where she catches him. That's convenient. I didn't even think of that before. I do think that's a cool shot right there with the coils coming out of her.
I agree.
Then similarly, another competent person says, "Oh, I'm gonna pick up the gun that's laying here, even though I'm afraid." And he shoots, again, not at them, but at the thing hanging up. Now, this is a little convenient because then that falls and chops them, like the wires just perfectly.
Yeah.
Convenient, but whatever. Everybody's an excellent shot. It's actually also kind of believable because he's a scientist. Maybe he knew, the rigging is only held by one bolt and it'll, whatever.
Yeah,
fine.
Whatever it is.
So they get free, and then now there was another screenshot of him doing something else, which I was saying like to fix it or whatever. So he hits the morph, and you do see the good color pushing out the green. So maybe you're right that just had a charge built up.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, they're becoming Rangers, and they both look awesome. They're like the new Psycho Rangers as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, that's exactly what I thought. Oh, so excited. So excited.
And then it's the coil. Oh, Colin. Erzuki said, coils were the worst CGI. It was still acceptable overall. Good effects. I'll have to see those words. I agree. It was the worst CGI, but average for like a normal episode, like it was passable. Dolly Girl said the Red Ranger face. Yeah. I also like that in true like Power Ranger / superhero style, they're like, oh, we're going to kill you. Oh, they're Rangers. And then they have time to be like, whoa, look, I'm a Ranger. Hey, don't look now. You're the Red Ranger. This is crazy. And meanwhile, I picture the villains like, any minute now, we're gonna shoot them. Like, you just wait. When you're done with your conversation, you're dead. Like,
that the part I liked is obviously they did the weird like you're fused with animal DNA, and they're like, by the way, you have secondary superpowers. Here you go.
Yep, I am a big fan of that. That I would hope they use that when they're in their civilian mode sometimes, maybe.
I would assume so. Kind of like with the Energems and Dino Charge, similarly.
Yeah. Now, going back to is Blue Ranger going to be the leader? Here we see him come up and be like, you're not Blaze and my girlfriend, you're evil. So it is a little bit of a leader moment, but I take that more as he's trained for this. He's ready for this. They're still like, whoa, what happened? And he knows these people. And like, so I don't think that's him being leader. I think that's just him taking charge in that moment.
Agreed.
All right. So then fighting ensues. And then here, talking about the secondary powers, we see the cheetah speed he uses. And he's like, whoa, cheetah speed. And then what I like is, and she gets the hopping because she's a jackrabbit. And then also super kicks a la Kamen Rider. And then this is my favorite, though. He's like, let me check out the gorilla strength. That is like,
barrels at your face.
It's ridiculous. But I love it. And then he's like, 4 barrels, which is like, I don't even know how he's holding 4 barrels, but it's pretty amazing.
Barrel to the face. They were welded together. For whatever reason.
Okay. And then this is another good hero shot because, like, they're fighting, but they all kind of form up, protect the civilian. So, like, without saying anything, kind of going back to what Erzuki was saying, it's a good, like, message of, like, well, their primary focus is to protect people. And without saying anything, just having this shot shows that. And then going back to those teleporters we saw before, oh, yeah, they could be used to teleport things. Can you set them to be somewhere really far away?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, he can.
The other thing, in terms of them going to protect this, in terms of protecting the civilian, like you said, is I think the kind of theme of this team will be they're all heroes on their own, but they're stronger as a team, kind of thing, without it being overly pushed.
I agree. That makes sense. So then, okay, so they're going to set it up. And now this is where you see the Red Ranger. He starts taking charge. Because he says, Blue, give us a distraction. So he's calling the shots. So Blue's like, all right, here I go. Blam, blam, blam. Then he uses his speed again, gets one in place. And then we get jumping. So I like that they figure out their powers and they're like, okay, well let's use them to the best ability.
Mm-hmm.
Now Blue didn't get to use his super strength. He was just shooting, but then he has his little moment because the doctor's not paying attention, so he pushes him out of the way and saves him.
Yeah.
Get him, and they get him in their blast. Now here's what I like about this. Okay, they're just like, whoa, that was a blast. Oh wait, I'm skipping ahead. All right, if you have a comment here, I was gonna skip ahead to something. No?
No, go for
Okay.
Just looking at the chat, do you think they should make an American Ranger? 100%.
Yeah.
Waiting for the actual Ox Beast late this season. That's true. Yeah, I think they're probably going to, just based on, I'm pretty positive they didn't have these evil yellow and red Rangers, so the sky's the limit, and please all the Rangers.
Yeah, please all the Rangers. I agree. So they do the helmet reveals, which was strangely exciting, even though we already saw Morph. Like taking off the helmets was kind of cool. Like, okay, it's really them. It's really them. And then this, I love this shot because they did this wide beam, just teleport everything, and it wasn't like it hit the evil Rangers. It sucked up part of the floor. It took whatever's on the ceiling, and then in the background you see their friends that are like laying unconscious. So it's like they won, but like at what cost? You know, it's not like, oh, everything's fine.
Exactly.
Let's have some Slurpees. It's like, no, this was a battle. Stuff got destroyed. People are hurt. Like, you know, it makes good stakes. So I really like that.
Mm-hmm.
It makes good stakes. And then back to Go Buster Central.
So, I mean, looking into next week, I like how at the end of this episode, they didn't really say anything of like, oh, here's what's going to happen next week. It's like, nope, this season's cool. Here's some random clips.
Yeah.
Keep watching at 8.
Yeah, I agree. But before they did that, we get your favorite Ranger here pining over his girlfriend. And what I really hated was this. The flashback to the conversation they had on a dock, which was the same conversation they had in this episode. So It's like they had the conversation, hey, we can't be together. Then he's like, oh man, we couldn't be together. Remember when I said we couldn't be together? Like, we get it. We if anything, next episode have this flashback to remind people.
Yeah.
We saw the conversations. That kind of annoyed me. And then he's like, okay, also Blaze, whatever. Nobody cares about you. And then he comes out and they're like, oh, by the way, thanks for saving me. And they actually introduce themselves.
Yeah.
They have a handshake with the two guys, which I didn't get a screenshot of. But what I love is that right after it, he's like, thanks for saving me. You know, you're welcome. And then she goes, and it's like just so awkward because
double handshake.
Yeah, it reminds me of like back in the day when I used to play like Mortal Kombat and stuff in arcades. The cool kids would be like playing like this and then switch, and that's what it made me think.
Yeah,
which is like, well, I could do this, but like, why not?
The biggest takeaways from this episode: all the barrels, double handshake.
All the barrels, double handshake.
No more ninja steel.
Ninja steel. Let's see. Waiting for the actual. Ox says that's why she's jaded and edgy bunny. Edgy bunny. All right, and then so then the doctor or the commander, I guess, the boss comes in and she's like, "What's wrong with them?" And he's like, "Well, their evil twins are connected to them, so they're going to be in comas the rest of the show until we knock out the evil Rangers." And then this is, I think, where he's like, she's like, "Can I count on you?" And they're still talking about evil Rangers. I took so many screenshots, and she's like, "Yes, mom. I mean, ma'am." Which was kind of a weird,
so
like,
lame.
Okay, it's his mom, but like, I don't know why they had to do it that way, but whatever.
It made me hate him more. I'm unfairly hating him so early.
You really are. Maybe it's the same way I'm judging the mayor too harshly early on.
Maybe. Hopefully they both grow on us separately.
Yes. So anyway, he's like, I'm in because I'm your son and I'm already signed up. And then, you know, she's like, well, what about you guys? Are you going to be in? You got these powers and stuff. And so she's like, well, yes. She's like, I think she says something diplomatic, like it's supposed to be the other girl, but until she's okay, yes. Even though she had talked about earlier failing out of the program, so clearly she's like, I want this. Which also, talking about the future, I want to know why she failed out of the program. I want that to be a plot point where whatever it is she has to overcome and like prove that she's like worth it, and not just lucky. And then
I agree.
And then he's like, his answer is a little less good. He's like, I didn't think I'd be doing this today. Okay, you know, like, which is...
He's like, this seems rad! Way better than cleaning carpets! Woohoo!
Yeah, which, fair enough, but I do imagine a thing similar to Wes and his dad in Time Force, where because his identity has to be secret, his dad's going to be like, you still don't have a job, and he's like, I'm saving the world, but I can't tell you. And then she's like, okay, well, let's get him trained up on the simulator, and I out loud was like, oh man, that's what he wanted the whole time. And then he's like, that's what I wanted the whole time! So I appreciated, even after becoming a Power Ranger and doing all this stuff, he was still excited to play on the simulator because, you know, that's what he wanted.
Exactly.
Yeah. And that was the end of the first episode, which
So good.
I give it an A. I give it an A
Oh,
overall.
100%.
Yeah.
Solid A, hands
Yeah,
down.
very very excited to see where they go from here. I think
Mhm.
they established again they established the world for people who had never seen it. They reinforced it and redefined it for people who had seen it. They did a good job
Yep.
of giving character development to most of the characters, all the main characters and a lot of the secondary characters too. Yeah, the things that I say are wrong with it are nitpicks. It's
Yep.
overall doing everything right. I'm very excited to see where it goes. The downside is I feel like it's gonna make me want to buy more toys from this season.
Oh, 100%. I'm already ready.
Yeah, this seems like it's gonna be a lot of fun. We are a bit over. It's about 6:15, so not too bad. I wanted to keep it
Yeah.
to about an hour. As I said
Yeah.
before, I'm an artist and I typically stream art. I do it on Fridays.
Mhm.
The Red Ranger up here I drew. I wanted to try to draw during the stream. I'm questioning if that's going to be possible. Maybe I'll do some time lapse and throw it up, but it does seem we're going to be more about going over the episode and talking about
Yeah.
news and stuff. So that's to be determined. But we do this every Monday, so the new episodes air Saturday, and then Monday we do this. The
Yep.
times are below, but it'll usually be at 5. So I don't know. Any closing thoughts you wanted to give us, Bigdawg?
Before my final closing thoughts, taking a
Yep.
look at the chat. Are you getting Battle for the Grid? I probably am.
Uh,
Gazbot probably isn't. And if he is,
no.
he'll get it way down the line.
Yeah, I
Uh,
played Legacy Wars on the phone for a while, and it looks very similar, so I'm not super excited about it, to be honest. But if I hear it's good, if the
mhm.
big dog keeps telling me it's good, I'll try it. And
Yeah.
then Ox says, looking
Um,
forward to watching the season. I'm psyched that Ox is watching. I'm psyched that everybody's watching it, but for those that don't know, Ox didn't really watch
Same.
Power Rangers. We kind of got him to watch it, so I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited.
Yeah. What I will say, kind of closing thoughts. I'm glad that this season had a strong start. I'm glad so far, other than me being questionable about the Blue Ranger, I don't really have any complaints. It seems like stuff we were talking about last week is coming to fruition or exceeding our expectations. So if that continues, I mean, that's going to be great. Obviously, we're going to get the toys, and now we're going to be more excited about them because we
Yes.
like them and not because they happen to be Ranger toys like previous seasons.
Right.
So overall, I'm just looking forward to the recaps going forward and
Woof woof.
seeing how much more it gets not only us but other people excited whoop, whoop, for Ranger stuff in general. So if we can expand this to this and people start asking us about the comics or continue asking about the games and
Sure.
stuff, that's all I can really ask for.
Yeah.
So thanks everybody for watching, and if you have thoughts after the live stream.
Uh-oh. Did we lose him? I don't know if we lost him or me. I heard him crackling up. I'm going to assume you could still hear me. Big Dog was kind of losing his connection there, but he was saying, thanks, good Power Rangers. I'm the Big Dog. I love Operation Overdrive. That's my favorite season, and the Black Ranger is my favorite Ranger in that season. Do you think CP3 Blue, do you think Red Ranger should have a battle visor? Hmm, I don't know. I wouldn't be for or against it. I'd have to see the design. In chat, can you still hear me and not Big Dog? Oh, Big Dog's computer died is what happened. So I'm gonna hope you could. I'm gonna look over there. It looks like you can still see me. So I'm gonna close out. Thanks again for watching. You can check me out. I'm Gazbot all over the place. Oh, thanks for the follow, Coach Derp. We'll be back next week. Well, I'll be back Friday doing art. Then we'll be back Monday doing this. And if you have any Power Rangers news or questions, feel free to bring them with you. And okay, you still got me, Ox. Thanks for the confirmation. But for now, I'm gonna close out. I'm gonna make the opening be the closing, and we'll see you next week. Thanks to everybody that stopped by, and have a more phenomenal week.